real talk, the metaphor messiah. The one that took them to the truth, I swear I ain't a liar. The one that taught them how to grow and use their brain. Get that money, spread your message, for they label you insane. See, me, I learned to think so they could never PC me. Fuck about the hate and blind to it like Stevie. Represent the people, I ain't changing my demeanor. The revolution, yeah, that's why we beat up John Cena. Hate me cause I'm wonderful, I will never conform. I be kicking ass and you'll be quick to catch the eye.
This is
Bitch, I'm half human, half machine, like a cyborg.
It's a shitty day.
Not great.
No. Same old
Not
saying.
great.
But we
Same
shouldn't be
shit, different
doing
day.
this. We shouldn't be doing this because the bodies aren't even cold yet. We shouldn't be talking about it.
God.
I see in this a lot. The bodies aren't even cold yet. If that isn't another way to say shut up, I don't know what is. Now, I'm sure some people want to show the victim's family some respect, but again, I don't know what their body temperature has to do with it. And when Dylan Roof murdered a bunch of people were outraged. His ideology came in question. His behavior came in question. His actions. I don't remember anybody saying the bodies aren't cold yet. I remember outrage. I remember anger.
And people were fucking livid.
People were fucking livid, and rightfully fucking so. Rightfully so.
You should be.
So why, when another tragedy happens, that it's like you guys are using it for an agenda, this, that, and the other thing, and I have no doubt there's people using it for agenda. Let's look at Onision.
Sure. Oh my God.
I can't even
don't
go on
even
about that. I mean, I know
start on
people
that.
want me to rant and rave about Onision and get all upset, but I can't take him even mildly seriously enough to even get mad at him. The only show I ever did about him, and I fucking hated. He sucks. Sear told us everything we need to know about Onision.
You found him boring.
I do find him boring. I found him boring because he's so edgy. And Sear let us in what goes on behind the scenes over there. Everything's about money, and I know that's a constant accusation, but for him, it's really the case. And the only thing that's gonna stop him is if people actually turn him off and unsub.
Upper right-hand corner.
But that's not gonna happen when you're saying, horribly outrageous shit.
Right, you have people clicking on to see
They're
what
gonna catch,
bullshit
even
he's
if they hate him,
spewing
they're
out.
gonna see what bullshit he's fucking spewing. So to me, and this is why I rage about vague, subjective hate speech laws, because I think this is when they want to enforce them. This is the time, because you got every right to be outraged.
I think you should be. I mean, people getting senselessly murdered.
They killed let's face this, at the end of the day, and nobody's phrasing this way, but this has happened, and I understand there's some guys that are dead. They killed our little girls. They killed our little girls. Everybody calm down. Don't let the terrorists win. Don't complain. Are you kidding me? How are you going to enforce change? How are you going to put pressure on politicians?
How are you going to put a stop to it?
How are you going to put a stop if you just simply can't voice your opinion?
How are you going to put a stop to it if you do nothing?
Is that what you tell Martin Luther King? Hey, calm the fuck down. And we're going to go around and say, the bodies aren't cold yet. The bodies aren't cold yet. Man, I'm not talking about, I want something done for the victims. Hey, guess what? Our little girls are not worth the sacrifice for political correctness. I don't want young English girls slaughtered so you can feel like you're politically correct. So you can virtue signal. Everybody calm the fuck down. But if you're not on the victims list, calm the fuck down. Be cool. Don't let the terrorists win. But if you are on the victims list, it's a giant conspiracy. It's amazing to me. Everything.
Are you really amazed
No.
Are you really amazed now?
No, and I'm using this for
that's
people.
The reaction.
This show, look, there's a lot of things I suppose we could have talked about, but I'm letting you guys sound off and say whatever the fuck you like. Just keep it. No calling for the death of people. You're gone. I don't care. I don't care if the guy who did this is dead. All right. Except if you're calling for the death of like ISIS and terrorists and shit, then feel free. I'm gonna let you guys go off. Believe me, I'm gonna try to do some listening today, and I did some streaming today with some English boys, and I don't think they should calm down. I think they should speak out and say how frustrated they are. We can't go to our government. Our government tells us to shut up, racist.
Tell you not to do anything. Well, look what that's getting everybody.
They tell us not to do anything. Tell us not to get angry. There's nowhere to go.
How many situations have been like this in the past, I don't know, year?
It's once a month here in Europe.
It seems like it.
It's once a month here in Europe, it feels like it. Once a month. And all it's going to take, I got news for you, Europe. All it's going to take is a couple of Americans to get killed in one of these events, and you can kiss your tourism goodbye. And if you say, so what? You fatties won't come here anymore. Ha, ha, ha. Great, great, great. Enjoy your taxes being raised, because I guarantee you American tourism is important to your country, no matter what country it is. That's all it's going to take. You know, you're gonna go to England if there's a bombing every other week. It's not safe to go to a concert, see some pop star. 8-year-old girls, blood and brains all over the fucking place. My little girl's 9. And calm down. I'm sorry, I reject that. And I said this before in a tweet. If you want to honor the victims with silence and you don't think it's the right time to speak out, I respect that. I really do. I don't even say that sarcastically. But you know, being silent and showing respect through silence is not telling everybody else to shut the fuck up. That's not silence. That's telling everybody to shut the fuck up last time I checked. God. It's unbelievable. And the same things. It's not all Muslims. It's the same silencing techniques. It's the same ways.
Techniques every single time.
Every time.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't blame them.
Hey, England, can you really? You know, I used to think that the EDL was a bunch of right-wing neo-Nazi skinheads, fuckfaces. But the more I look at a guy like Tommy Robinson, he's the only one standing up. They arrest him and they drop the charges every time they turn around to shut him up. Rotherham Police Department, afraid to go in to stop a rape ring that was going around for fucking 20 years for political correctness. I'm sorry, England. I don't think your little girls are worth sacrificing for political correctness. And if you think those girls died for anything fucking else, if nothing is done, that you're kidding yourself. If you think all those girls that were sacrificed, their bodies were sacrificed in Rotherham to appease, because the cops didn't have enough balls to stand up, and the goddamn federal government had to take over that town's police department because they still refused to enforce the law because they were afraid of being politically incorrect. I'm not willing to sacrifice my kid for that. And you shouldn't either. And you should be outraged. I'm not saying go and burn down your local donor shop. Sammy Amari didn't do shit to you. He's just trying to sell you something. That's not what I'm saying here. But I understand the frustration. You can't go to your government. You can't go to, it doesn't matter what political party you go to. The media will not stick up for you. You know, Joe Englishman, Joe Belgium, Joe Italian. They want to shut you up. Are little girls worth your Second Amendment? Yes, they are. And I'll tell you why. Because if our government doesn't fucking look out for us, we go in their backyard. You're goddamn right it is. I'll tell you something right now, Jack fuck. You know what they're doing in Canada? If your kid decides that he's really a little girl and you don't help with his transitioning, this is going to Parliament next month. If you don't help with his transitioning, they are going to take your child away. Guess where that won't happen? The United States. You know why? The Second Amendment. Because try that shit in Texas. You're goddamn right it is.
Good fucking luck with
You're
that.
goddamn right it is. They couldn't pull this shit over here. We'd kill the people in our government. That's why it's there. When they go awry, the people correct it. And don't say that's impossible with today's with today's technology, because it works really well in the Arab Spring. God, I mean, if you can't defend your life legally, if it's illegal to defend the right to breathe, what rights do you have? If you can't breathe, you can forget freedom of speech, Second Amendment, Third, any kind of fucking amendment. Stick it straight up your Mass Amendment.
See you bye.
Doesn't matter. You can't defend. You have nothing. Nothing. Just like George Carlin said, there's no such thing as rights, if that be the case. I used to think George was a little off on this. I'm starting to come around. There's no such things as rights. They're an idea. But if you can't defend, I'm basically told here in Germany, if somebody breaks in, I kill him, I'm going to jail. Might not do as much time as if I went outside and killed him, but I'm going to jail. So I don't have the right to defend my children. What rights do I have? I might not even have the right to stream much longer.
What's gonna stop from some psycho busting through your front door right now?
Nothing. And I judged by 12, even though they don't do that over here. Then carried by 6. People more guided by terrorism worldwide. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's 300 fucking million people here. It's ridiculous. And the idea that you can take them away. How did prohibition work when we banned booze?
Not
no,
great.
It didn't work. What did banning drugs do, stupid? Things are going pretty good for El Chapo and friends. Banning things do nothing. It only punishes, especially with guns.
People are still going to find a way to get the shit.
Yeah, and all you're punishing is illegal gun owners, which is probably what you want to do, because those are the people. Adam, you believe in government telling us what to do, what to think, and how to live. And you don't want that check and balance. The Second Amendment is a check and balance. If I'm the United States, I could just fucking move away of a bad neighborhood or a bad area.
Yep.
Oh, doesn't matter. You can't send your kid to an 8-year-old concert. Maybe she get blown up. Maybe she won't. It's an attack on our way of life. It's attack on science. It's an attack on it's attack on our school system. It's attack on everything. It's attack on our way of life, because they want to spread their way of life. These Islamic terrorists here,
and they're going to do that. They're doing that through fear.
And they're doing it through fear because it's the best way. It's the best way. I hold the gun, I make the rules. It's just that simple. I hold the gun, I make the rules. I tell you exactly what to do. And you don't have a problem with doing that, pal, because you think if the right people are in there, then it'll all work out if nobody has any rights. Well, ask the people of Venezuela about that. Can't even get bread with your stupid ideology. Another sick ideology. All your ideology. I've been alive more than just about anybody in that chat. And I got to watch the Soviet Union. And I've been to Eastern Europe. And I know where your road goes. And it still has dramatic impact on people that are born today. Your sick and twisted ideology that is just one step below radical Islam. Because I tell you something, it's pretty much a cult on both ends. You couldn't install a government that neither is elected nor removed in the United States. That has been done here. 718-395-7660, 718-395-7660. What happened in Manchester was terrible. The people who did this are pure evil, so how could they ruin the futures of young children? I don't always agree with you, but it's really good of you to do this stream and spread the word. Have a good one. Have a good evening. That's all I want you guys to do today. I want you to hit it. No calling for the death of anybody. I don't go for that. I don't go for political violence. Yeah. I don't go for political violence. But if you're angry, If you're angry,
completely
if you're
get
angry,
it,
get it.
and I feel you should be.
Yeah, I'm worried. I am worried.
I'm more worried for people who aren't
angry.
pissed off.
Aren't angry. I'm worried about the people that are intimidated by those on Twitter saying the bodies aren't cold yet. The bodies aren't cold yet. 585, you're on the air.
Dude, I am pissed.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you. No one's gonna side with me, but I'm a firm believer in. I think we need to have armed people in schools, when you're having concerts, that kind of stuff. Concerts, wrestling events, sporting events. I believe we need to have some armed people somewhere. It doesn't have to be out in the open, maybe just in a room watching cameras. You know what I mean? But it's for safety. You got to think about children, young kids, women. You can't. You know what I mean?
I don't know. You know what? I don't know enough about security for something like that to know that it would work. I don't like the idea of absolutely everybody being armed. To be perfectly honest with you, and I don't know how much good it is, but I do understand. And if I thought that was a way to get there, and I think you think it's a way to get there, and I don't know. But I get where you're coming from.
Keep going.
No, I get where you're coming from, bro. If you can convince me that will work or limit things, honestly, I think cutting off the Islamic world from immigration for the next 10 years and to see how things go. That's what I think. That's where I think it's starting.
They're still gonna find.
They might still make it difficult. Make it difficult.
Yeah.
Make it as hard as possible.
There's always a loophole.
Sure. Make it harder. There's no loophole now. There's walk over. And we'll pay for your shit.
I'm thinking about the children, and I'm a firm believer. And if I was Trump, this would be my thing. I'm a firm believer for American children to keep them safe. I'm in a high school, and we've had 5 or 6 this year lockdown drills because something's happened in the school. It's sometimes been with a student who's gone insane, or it's been someone's come into the school. Thank God there's been nothing. But I do think there should be an off-duty police officer. So you don't have to have a guy with an AK-47, but something just watching the cameras. And if something goes down, because it's a gun-free zone, some dude can go and just shoot up half the school. Think about Columbine. Think about Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I think there's guys. It doesn't have to be a dude with an AK-47.
No, it doesn't even have to be a place like, Connecticut has real strict gun laws.
Right away.
Right, you don't have to have Rambo sitting up in cameras.
The Europeans don't like to talk about the shootings in France. They were assault rifles too. I don't know. I'm gonna let you go 585. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong.
All right, bro.
But I definitely want to let everybody sound off as much as possible. Thanks for the call, bro. I'll put strangle. He's fucking insane. He has sanity.
Interesting idea.
Something tells me strangle will have a little bit more of a voice of reason. Go ahead,
it's fucking ridiculous. What the hell are they doing? What is going on? Because
they're doing nothing about it.
You can't stop this shit, even if you arm yourself. You can't stop it. Some madman goes in with a bomb, blows up 22 children. You can't shoot him dead. You can't stop him.
Sure, but what about sort of like what I was talking about before, like the right to defend your family, and considering things are getting more dangerous, why can't more?
See, I see something like that as a real big problem.
Yeah, why not having more guns in your home at very least? I mean,
here's the thing: because if you give someone a gun in the home, it does increase like if you take a place that doesn't have guns and you put guns in there, there will automatically be more gun violence. Because
a psycho is still going to find a way to get one.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument in both ways. Another thing is,
absolutely, which is why.
And I don't know how it would work in Europe, but you know that the looser gun laws we have in the United States, the lower the gun crime, right?
Go on.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's got some of the strictest gun laws in the world. I mean, in North America, excuse me.
It's like a fucking war zone.
Thank you. I can't call you, but I like to move a Cliff into Discord chat. I'd love to. All right, I'll thank you, Cliffhanger. Bribe me. But I look, I'm not going to speak out because I don't know if flipping the gun laws to American laws in Germany would be a good thing because there is a cultural difference.
They don't even need guns to do it. I mean, look at the Bastille Day attack. Dude took a freaking truck.
Yeah.
He just hopped in a truck and...
I don't even think the gun thing is thing. I think it's time to start taking a look at the Islamic ideology that's creating this and maybe being very critical of this. I think it's time to look at this idea of this open immigration, and the British have spoke out against that with Brexit. And the idea that the people that make the immigration laws on Europe are not electable or removable. And there is no mechanism to even kick them out for corruption, like the impeachment, the articles of impeachment in the United States. We have a lot of problems like this over here in Europe. So, like, I mean, I'm actually talking, like, is there a political mechanism? The gun thing, Strangle makes a good point as far as it's not going to stop a nail bomb or anything like that. I don't know if arming Europe is the thing, but I think there's other things that can be done before we get to this point. I do think you have the right to defend your family and your property with lethal force. I think that's just a basic human right. And that would mean a gun. That would mean having a gun. But the European people have decided in their elections that they want limited guns. I'm not one to say they shouldn't do that. But I do believe that allows governments to make things like, to make laws that chip away at your liberty and tell you their rights, like what's going on in Canada right now.
Tommy, here's the thing, and I'll talk for as long as you'll let me.
Sure.
But we've got gun laws over here. You can't have guns. Are people going to get guns and shoot people? Yeah, of course they are. If you've got a crazed killer, there's not much you can stop him from doing, going and getting a gun and shooting someone. But it's the argument of, if you take a room that doesn't have any hand grenades in and you put a hand grenade in that room, chances are the explosion rate is going to go up.
Sure, but what if they're throwing hand grenades at you to begin with? Then it doesn't. How much does it matter?
I get that. I get that. We do need ways to defend ourselves. I just don't think increasing a shit of guns over here.
Fair enough. I'm not jumping on you. I mean, I don't know if American gun laws would work over here because of the culture, and I certainly don't want any more people to get killed.
You don't have it as an inbuilt right.
And you don't, and that's another thing. You don't have it as an inbuilt right. I'm glad we do, and I know why we do.
Honestly,
it was in case our democracy went replete. That's why it was put there to begin with. Canada doesn't have it either. And if the boy watches some stupid TV show one day and says, "I think I'm a girl," then they have to go through a transitioning process after DIFUS or CPS comes in. That's what's next in Canada. Yes, they're voting on this. That gets you killed in the state. See, I think something like that happens in the United States. Like in Connecticut, they tried to, up the gun laws and make people register. So a lot of people didn't show up and dare. It's a felony not to register your firearm. They didn't care. What are you going to do? Go door to door? They didn't go door to door in Connecticut. No, they didn't go.
They're going to do shit.
They ain't going to do shit.
I don't remember where they did it, but it was a mandatory buyback program. And that's the first step to disarmament.
Yeah, well, that was in Australia. But I got to be honest with you, because it's not a built-in right, and we're raised, me and Jeff were raised where this is the first step to totalitarianism. You don't show up for that. And if somebody knocks on your door, come to get them, you don't give them to them.
You're not, and I kind of want to interrupt here. You're not talking about the actual problem that's going on. Gun laws, okay, fine, it's a sub-issue.
It is sub-issue.
The problem is Islam.
No.
The problem is fucking
The problem is Islam.
And no one's going to talk about it, because the moment you talk about it, you're racist.
You're a racist, yeah.
I'm talking about it. I think we got sidetracked with the gun thing. I'll be perfectly honest. I think you're right. It's a good point, Strangle. It's a good point. I don't know. It was just the guy that called. He just wants to help. He thinks more guns will help. I don't know if he's wrong. I don't know if he's right. But the problem is the ideology. There's no doubt.
It's a non-issue. It's the ideology, definitely.
Yeah. And you can't talk about it because somehow talking about an idea, it's the only ideology in the world, even though you can be any race, to be a part of that ideology that is racist if it's criticized. Thank you very much for the call there, buddy.
Okay, talk to you later.
Strangle.
Go.
Strangle. It's
good old Strangle.
Doesn't care if the bodies are cold?
No.
Nor do I. 563 on here.
Hey, Tommy, I just wanted to speak on your Second Amendment point from earlier.
Go ahead.
You see in the videos from this weekend, I know you're busy with the Manchester tragedy, but if you remember the videos, or if you were following the Mexico videos, we don't need guns. If these politicians keep acting like this, I mean, we can take them out with rocks. You see lynch-offs.
Thanks to the donation before. An ugly cunt. You're on the air.
That wasn't even funny.
Hey.
Yeah, what's up?
Wasn't even remotely.
Right, I'm Irish, right?
Oh, what's up, man?
TD tax happened in England.
You guys are next.
Yeah, we are, and that's got me worried.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not overly worried, but I'm still apprehensive about how liberal my country is.
Yeah, me too. I watched you give your country away in the last 15 years, the EU. It was hard for me to watch. You get involved with the Euro around 2002, was it? And then, finally handing over your country, and it was 2009 after repeated votes that created the Treaty of Lisbon. It's been quite sad for me. And being there in 2012 when the Germans were in Parliament telling you what you could and couldn't do. I was actually in Dublin that day.
It wasn't good, was it?
No, it's not. And I get sickened because my family had to leave Ireland because of British oppression, and the people that did stick around fought 800 some odd years, and then the anniversary is coming up in 2 years. In 1919, the British said uncle, and all that fighting and all that blood. And you've handed it over to people that you can't even remove. And I don't blame like the individual Irish person, but I think you've been snowed by Marxism. And it was almost like when you guys had that money trouble back 4 years ago. It was like, we lost the money drinking. I'm sorry. No. You voted a bunch of politicians that spent more tax revenue than they took in. It's just that simple. And it's just a sign that you have a bunch of Marxists in Parliament over there, and it is frightening. But what did you have to say? I don't want to go on about Irish politics.
No. I just came in to just talk about that. I'm worried about it.
Yeah. What do you think could happen?
I'm just thinking, like, I've got a lot of family here, obviously.
Sure.
And I'm not sure how I'd react if that was my family.
Wow. I don't know what to tell people to react, because it's not like it's not like you're shooting British soldiers, you know. It's a whole different ball of wax. This is a enmity that's built in, you know. And the problem is they hide among the innocent, you know. And
if you talk out against it, you're racist.
That's what I wonder. Would that be the tipping point? You know, when we're going to the police and they're not listening to our complaints and they're not doing anything about it, and our political figures are shutting us down because of that.
That happens to me when I'm talking to people.
Yeah.
Whenever I bring up a topic and I say, "Oh well, maybe we should look more into things." Like, I don't agree with the whole Muslim ban thing, but maybe if I have a lighter version, and people are calling me a racist.
I just don't want you to talk about it.
It doesn't make
you hear all the jokes like, "Oh, talk something ethnic to a feminist, they call you racist."
Yeah,
that's actually happening.
Yeah. Well, kind of like the brown shirts in Germany. They used to go to college campuses here in the 1920s and just shout down the professors. No, just yell and scream. I feel like we're being swept up into a cult. You know, instead of you're being a heretic or a sinner, then you're a racist.
Kind of seems like it.
And it doesn't even matter if the context of the word is used correctly. You know, this is senseless rhetoric. How many minutes are we in? 30 minutes in, and this is senseless rhetoric? Get the fuck out then, you jerk off. You're not shutting me up. Adam Taylor. Sew your own mouth shut, cunt. Or, how about this? Call up and watch me fuck you up.
Yeah, if he calls up, feel free.
Oh, nobody called. None of these guys call up. None of these guys call up.
They never call.
And you know why they say it's senseless rhetoric? They know why, because they know you're right. They know that all they have is "shut up, you're a bigot." We haven't said anything about race in this goddamn program. Yeah, he won't call. He's gutless.
Come on.
No, I doubt it. Oh no, I've been through this before. I dragged my whole show. Get out of here, Irishman. Thanks for calling. Bye. Who was the guy that A. Cliff? All right, he donated.
Yeah, A. Cliff. Yeah, he bribed you.
He bribed me. All right,
sorry, man,
I hope you're good.
I didn't mean to bribe you. I just gave you money anyway because I really like your stream.
I know. But it's okay. Speak out, brother.
I'm so fucking pissed. Like, literally, I get it if someone you know has died or anything and you're grieving, but everyone else should be on the fucking streets.
In what way?
I also don't get just protesting, looking to do something against this, because in Germany it's also the problem that the whole ministerium. It's more of a mysterium, because what happens is guns are removed from the Bundeswehr. Where are they? We don't have a fucking clue. Suspected terrorists can roam around Germany from Duisburg to Berlin and then ram a truck into the Christmas market. Nice, good job for looking after those guys. And I think just a lot of more has to be done there. Kick out the assholes that don't do jack shit. And I think just literally, if the rules were followed, so much could be avoided. And if proper procedures are done. And what I also don't get is when people are like, the cities aren't safe anymore. Sure, you could be scared of a terror attack, but you're more likely to die of diabetes type 2 than be shot. I think that if there's a terror attack in my city, I live in Germany. I live in a city where there's immigrant population through the fucking roof.
So do I. I live in Germany too, bud. I live in Wiesbaden, and I've watched this tear the streets up. It's even the Turk. I've even had Turks complain to me.
How bad is it? Can you like give us an example?
I didn't see it right away. I live in a metropolitan area, okay, so I didn't see it. There's a lot, and it's a lot like where I grew up in New Jersey. Everybody's different colors and shit, so that doesn't really have an impact on me. But I did start to see the strain as the apartments started getting more packed, as old ethnic groups that were here started to feel pushed out by. I'm talking about white people and I'm talking about Syrians and Turks. That's starting to be a problem, and stuff like that. But
you faced something like this at your old place, right?
Yeah, that's right, and that's kind of one of the. I mean, we needed a better place for Tommy, but that's one of the reasons we left.
Well, yeah, but
what do you see? Don't tell me exactly where you live, but where do you live in Germany?
Well, I live in I can tell you because this area is so large and so crowded. Literally, there's millions of people living in a small area. I live in Duisburg.
You're north of me. Okay.
Yeah. So, and if one average income family moves in, 4 families are considered poor because they suddenly, are below like 60% of the average wage. You literally, if you drive through the wrong part of town, there's even, there's like 10 times as much as police because they try to get rid of the bad image. And it's, I don't have a problem against people coming here for, for jobs or whatever. We need these people in the low income sector. I see their benefit. But what I don't see is that people, and especially, all of the government agencies, the BND and whatever, they just fuck on procedures, and they put so many people in danger. You've probably heard it, the German army, there's been a giant scandal because there's like literally neo-Nazis in the army and they're stealing guns and no one's noticing. Like, what the fuck? How did they just take a gun?
Thank you, Charles, so much. Weird, Dave.
Proper regulation. And that also pisses me off.
I don't know. It's funny you mentioned that too, because my experience working with the Bundeswehr. I mean, these guys, when they would go to our shooting range, like in Wackenheim, it was they would count their shells. Otherwise, they would be in big trouble. They spent more time. They would shoot and they would chase the friggin' shell that came out, which is not a good way to train, by the way, because they were more great about counting the fucking shell than they were doing their job, and their job was to learn marksmanship. It is bizarre. There's a lot of good guys in the Bundeswehr, and there's a lot of people that want to defend this country, but it's not the place to go. You're almost better off as a German joining the French Foreign fucking Legion. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because the Bundeswehr is absolutely, positively filled with football washouts that don't want to be there. And I hate to say that because there's great German troops in there. Don't get me wrong. But the Bundeswehr is whacked. It's whacked, and it's whacked not so much because of the trainers in there. It is whacked because Germany has lost its warrior culture for obvious reasons, but it's gone too far. Everybody's a fucking dork with glasses in this country.
I think so as well. I think there has to be a bit of a change in the German mindset.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of people that do want to do something against this, but they're afraid of being called a Nazi because that was 80 years ago.
I know.
We don't talk about this anymore.
I know. I talk about
ridiculous.
it. You should see me at dinner parties, pal. I embarrass everybody in the room. Hans, Dieter, all of them. I start talking and they do exactly what you just. They whisper to each other.
Yep. They get all nervous and sweaty.
Yes, they were. They say they leave the room. They go outside and smoke a cigarette.
Now they're talking shit on you.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, man.
Problem,
I love German. I love my German fans, and by the way, I love your country, and it's been very good to me for the most part, other than divorce. But that could have happened in America too. So take care. I understand Germans being upset, and you have every right to be upset. And this is I'm giving you a safe space to bitch, and you have every right to bitch, except for that jackass who was in the chat. Nobody's allowed to bitch.
I understand Germans being upset, and you have every right to be upset.
I love listening to my own show. I love my voice.
I know your ego is pretty big.
My ego's
sorry,
big.
Tommy.
What do you got?
So Tommy, first time caller. I'm actually from Connecticut. Like, you're talking a lot about Connecticut and gun laws, but you're talking about how what's it called? How ISIS is a huge problem. What do you think is the best way to counteract ISIS, or how to what do you think a solution is?
Here's the thing about all of it, and what you're going to say, I'm going to like. It's not just ISIS, it's Islamic terrorism. We will see no end to Islamic terrorism until we have a World War II type effort against Islamic terrorism. I'm not talking about a couple countries. I'm talking that kind of error. Drafts, everything. Since that is never going to happen, I think it is time for the Western world to completely cut itself off economically to the Middle East in every way. And there is no immigration to be in the Middle East. There's no, and every time that, well, that won't stop a bombing. No, it won't. But cutting off things like travel. Charles, 27, 29. Might as well make it 50. Thank you so much, Charles. Very nice. That means a lot to me. It does. You guys are supporting the show more than you can ever imagine. I do. I think it takes like this. I mean, every man, woman, and child. That's all. It's just like it was in World War II. But since it can't be that way, and there probably isn't enough money to do it, I think we need to cut ourselves off. Immigration, diplomatically, everything. Let them rot. When they get out of line, pave it. That's it. That's the policy. It's called the drive-by policy. We find out there's a terrorist attack and it comes from Syria. We don't know exactly where it came from. We pick a terrorist camp and we pave it. We got the wrong terrorist group. Sorry. We fucked up. I got an idea. We'll keep your other camp. We won't blame every other fucking camp we know of. Why don't you tell us about the guys who did this? That's the way I do it. That's the kind of policy, because nothing else will work. If you think about it, what did it take to stop the Germans paving an entire city in Dresden?
Effort from everybody.
From the entire planet. What did it take to stop Imperial Japan, a nuclear fucking weapon? So that's what it's going to take.
And it took two of them.
Took two of them. Boy, the Japs are tough. But that's what I think. Since that's not possible, because Europe does not have a warrior culture outside of England, and that includes Ireland. I'm sorry, guys. They don't have a warrior culture outside of England. I think absolute, total cut off. You guys learn to come to the 20th century. Well, 20th century is good enough, because I know you're not going to be able to handle the 21st century. That's not going so well. And then we'll talk about it. Then we'll talk about it. That's what I would do. But believe me, everything I'm saying is a complete pipe dream. I'm just a fucking idiot that was in the army that yells on a microphone. But that's what I think. That's what I think. Because I think it's that serious. And the problem is, I'm probably 10% of the world population that thinks it's fucking worth finishing this mess. And, you got a bunch of people your own people telling you to shut the fuck up. So maybe they already won. I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah, there's no diplomat. You can't tell somebody that believes what they're doing is the word of God, an omnipotent being that is all-knowing, all-seeing, and what he wants is the only thing that you live for. You can't tell somebody that has come to that conclusion anything. I know this because I grew up Catholic.
And is it like, at the end of the day, from my understanding, aren't like all religions supposed to like follow the golden rule, essentially?
No, not Islam. From what I don't know anything about fucking Islam. I don't know anything other than it produces terrorism. I know there's decent people. I know I've met wonderful Muslims or people that were associated with the Muslims. I don't know fucking a goddamn thing about it. I know it produces Islamic terrorism, and it is a cancer on this planet. That's all I know. And that's all I want to fucking know. So, and I've been told... because I know that, well, why don't you read the Quran? No, I have better things to do. I'd rather read Green Eggs and Ham to my kid, because at least he'd be on the road to speaking English. If I read the fucking Quran, I wouldn't learn a goddamn thing. But a myth book. Well, you know what? I do have I have all these stupid ghost books that I wasted fucking hundreds of dollars on in the other room. That's what they're worth. My ghost stories.
You can use it as toilet paper.
My LARPing adventure books are fucking worth more than that goddamn piece of shit. It's a book with words in it that has myths. So does fucking Lord of the Rings.
No, you just pissed Dave off.
I get what you're saying, but it's just like, I get what you're saying, but it's like, your opinion is like, I don't see anyone ever, especially someone who's politically correct. I don't see them ever.
I know. And I wish somebody comes in and fucking. I wish they could see the pain that I saw in Iraq. Thank you so much for the donation, Cowboy. I wish they would see the agony that this has caused, because a lot of this is gonna be funny. White privilege. They don't know how bad it can get, and I've seen how bad it can get. My own eyes. Shit. I saw growths on people's face that couldn't get operated on. Shit that you would never see in Europe or the United States. Because there's nothing to do. It's going to let it fucking grow. It won't kill you, so might as well leave it on your fucking head. This is, you guys have no idea what actual poverty looks like. I got to see a little bit in Mexico City when I was a kid, and it was shocking. People walking, doing fucking heroin in the streets. You know, like it's no big deal. The cops don't bother with those people. That's the last people on their problem. At least they're going to be stoned and laying around the park and not bothering anybody. And I think the problem is you have these privileged white people that don't know how we're so far removed from World War II. We're so far removed from Vietnam. We are so far removed from the collapse of the Soviet Union that we have an entire generation, the millennial generation, that doesn't know suffering. Their great-grandparents were in the Second World War. So they don't know suffering, so they don't know it can get bad. So when they hear somebody like me, I'm nuts. Okay, fine, I'm crazy. So you're right.
Yeah. Well, like Tommy, my dad's from Haiti. I'm African American, and it's like he always tells me like he uses that like if I don't eat all my food on my plate, he'll be like, oh, there's people starving in Haiti. Like I get it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll have to take you to Haiti and see. You'll see.
Maybe you should go.
Like for yourself.
Maybe he's right. Because what he does, he knows how far the rabbit hole goes. You don't. It's not your fault, and I'm glad you don't. I'm glad you're American. You get to grow up in the States and experience all the wonderful things. Adam Taylor, I love your work, Tommy. I'm here every morning from Australia. Happy to disagree with you in some things occasionally, though, mate. That's absolutely fine. So maybe it's a good idea if you guys can plan a safe trip to Haiti. That's great. What I plan to do with my daughter when she's old enough, I'm taking her to a homeless shelter. And we're gonna fucking hand out some soup. That's what we're gonna do. And we're not gonna be there saying, oh, these poor people and it's society's fault. No, I'm there to show her what it looks like. That this could be her. This could be somebody. And while these people need empathy, and they do, we also need to learn to avoid this path and what got them there. And I don't wow, I'm getting a loud storm. 25. Lord Metalman. Left the military lately, was trained, was prepared to be called out and assist the police forces back in 2015. Over my Christmas time watching for something like this to happen. Can tell you this. We'll be having security drills and training at an all-time high. Yeah, I wonder what's going on in the Army. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on in the Army Germany. I don't really talk to any friends and troops. I don't know if anything's going on because this shit happened every month. You know? We were on high alert. We were on high alert after the shooting in Frankfurt, but I mean it went away in like a month. Yeah, I check it out. If you can get there safely and back, I think your dad will show you what you got. You know, at the least to appreciate what you have. You know.
Yeah, Tommy. One last question.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on West Point?
Can you get in?
Yeah, because like I play soccer and the soccer coach really likes me.
Really.
Like,
are you really smart?
Yeah.
Are you really smart?
Yeah, but like I don't really have any I don't want to join the Army. But
you're gonna be no. If you don't want to, you're going to be an officer. You have to want to join the Army, and you have to give them.
Yeah, but like
you got to give them 10 years, I think, or something like that. You got to get them.
It's like I either do that or I don't go to college at all.
Well, here's the thing: if you can fucking man the fuck up, maybe that's why he wants to take you to Haiti. And then it's something worth fighting for. You know, maybe that's why why your old man wants to take you to Haiti, show you what because he knows the other end of the tracks. If first of all, if you're not committed to be a serviceman, don't do it because it's not fair to the other troops there, and it's not fair for somebody because you got to get a congressman to approve that. You know, but. Since you're an athlete and you know what it's like to be pushed by a coach, you're obviously a high-end athlete, it might not be as bad adjustment as you think. It's not the first time you've been yelled at. It'll you're a first-generation immigrant. I'm sure your Haitian father fucking kicked your ass a little bit here and there. I think you can handle it. Yeah. Probably a lot worse than they're going to do in West Point.
It might not be as bad. Yeah.
Probably this would be a fucking breeze. You know, I was a pig farmer in Kansas. He used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to fucking walk to clean up pig shit, to walk to school and be there by 7 o'clock, to walk all the way back like an hour and a half, 2 hours, back 2 hours to clean more pig shit. At the end of the day, he fucking had a beer and watched TV before he fell asleep and did it all again. And on his TV came an Army commercial that says, do more by 9 o'clock than most people do all day. And he's like, fuck you, I'm joining the Army, I work at a fucking pig farm. And he went to basic training, and you know what? He said it was a fucking breeze. Said it was a breeze.
All right, Tommy.
Student from
Thanks for
Manchester.
taking
All
my
right,
call.
man. Take care, man. Keep me in touch with that thing. And I, if you need, look, I'm serious. If you need, like, if you're thinking about doing this, and because West Point's out of my realm, but I can help you with the attitude you need to succeed there. If you need somebody
All right,
to talk
thanks,
to,
man.
get in touch with me in Discord. And if you decide to do that, I will give you the pep talk of your lifetime. All right?
All right. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Fucking his old man's doing a good goddamn job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's me.
See that? It's a little more rare nowadays where you see that.
All right. No, he's doing it because he knows there's something wrong. Whatever your name is, I can't say it. 3, 2.
Hello.
Hello. What do you got for me, bud?
Hey, mate, I was disagreeing with you earlier from Australia.
Well, what do you got for me, then?
Well, mate, you talk about the immigration. Now, where did the guy come from that's done this bombing?
What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're disagreeing with.
Manchester, mate. He's from England. He's born in England. So how's stopping immigration going to help?
No, why is he getting immigration to help? Because his parents wouldn't be able to fucking lay his egg.
But how do you know that they were?
Well, how you could do this all day? It's a fucking it's a goddamn logical fallacy. If you limit the amount of people that can get over that produce a terrorist, you will limit about the terrorists. I didn't say wipe it out once, did I?
Yeah, okay. Did that work with the IRA, mate?
What did it work with the IRA? It was the country they captured. It's the reverse. That's not a very good example. England was a part of Ireland. They weren't trying to keep the Irish out. They were trying to keep them in.
No, but when the attacks are occurring in England by the IRA, did banning the IRA or Catholics or Irish people from coming over?
No, because they never attempted. No. You don't understand. Do you understand what an occupation is? All right, England occupied Ireland, not the other way around. We're inviting them in. I tell you something right now, and I have Irish blood. If the Irish were coming over to the States at the turn of the century and blowing shit up, I'd want them to go home. Is that so unreasonable?
That's how the Arabs feel, because all the Muslims, Americans were going over there and blowing shit up. That's why they're angry, mate.
I don't care why they're angry. I don't want them to blow shit up. We don't blow shit up in the West when we're angry.
Yes, I know, but this is the problem. Normal people don't. It's maniacs that do it.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is the ideology produces a lot more maniacs than other ideologies. Fucking Scientology's pretty whack, but they don't kill people too often. I can deal with them.
Yeah,
I don't want this ideology around my family and friends. It's completely reasonable. And limiting the immigration or making it a little harder is not racist. It's just common sense. And the worst part about it is our citizens in all parts of the country demand this, and we elect politicians that promise they'll do it, and they won't. They won't. I don't think an across the bar ban is going to do something right away. But, I mean, I got to be honest with you. We can't even go to our own politicians and say, could you do something about it? Because we're shut down by a goddamn red herring. By being called bigots. Why can't I be angry? Why can't British citizens be angry? There's a bunch of little girls killed today, you know? I mean...
Mate, everyone should be angry about idiots blowing people up.
Yeah, I know,
but you don't go and blame an entire religion or
why not?
race.
Why not? Would you blame if you saw right-wing violence? No. You walked into this trap. Now I'm going to finish you off. Would you blame right-wing violence on the ideology of fascism and National Socialism? Would that be fair? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's a binary question. Yes or no? Would you blame right-wing violence on those who practice and believe in things like fascism and Nazism?
The ideology is wrong.
Okay, the ideology is wrong. That's all that religion is. If you look at it in a secular way, that's all that religion is an ideology. It's a set of ideas. And so, yes, I can blame an ideology. If you want to call it, you can't blame the whole religion, that's fine. That's your choice of words. All it is to me, because I'm an atheist, is a set of ideas. And it's a lousy set of ideas. And as Sam Harris said...
Tommy, I understand this, mate, but my perspective on this is that this adds further fuel to what they're trying to achieve.
No, that's bullshit.
Make it somebody's license,
Well, so should I shut up?
Change our way of life.
Should I shut up? I don't know that this is a change in my complaining about people getting blown up and asking the listen. No, I'm not blaming any races. You said you are doing the exact argument that I said at the beginning of this podcast because you have nowhere to go. It is okay to blame a terrible fucking set of ideas. Can we agree on that?
Yes, agree.
So how is criticizing Islam racist?
I'm not saying it's racist. I'm talking about the immigration.
I think you're going back to the immigration. I can blame this religion. I'm not saying that when I blame the religion, it's not like I'm speaking about all Muslims. I'm blaming the ideology that's producing this trash. It's a horrible ideology. So what do you do when you are getting this type of behavior? You limit the amount of people that practice it. That's all. Nothing personal.
You can't, but isn't that?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you have a democracy, you can. If you have a democracy, you can decide who comes in and who doesn't.
Not on the basis of religion, mate.
Yes, you can. In fact, it's written into our laws. Yes, you can. You are a second. No, you don't have constitutional rights as an Australian, and neither does somebody from Iraq. Yes, you can. Obama did it. Obama did it. He didn't allow certain. When we shut down in Iraq, he stopped immigration for Iraq for a short period of time.
Yes, Iraq. That's a country. They're not. That's not a religion.
Oh God, give me a break. We could just there's nothing in the Constitution that says the president doesn't, or actually Congress doesn't have the power. The people, and I guarantee it's not that way in Europe either. You can make these decisions based on anything.
No.
Yes, you can. You can. The Constitution isn't, sir. The Constitution is not a suicide pact. It is not a suicide pact, so fucking political correct bozos can feel better about themselves. And you're absolutely 100% wrong. Jimmy Carter did in Iran in 1979, and it was done with Obama. So you're wrong, 100% wrong. Any country can make that vote and decide whether it is. Who cares if it's about one particular religion? How does that offend your sensibilities? Who cares? If that's what the majority of the people want, then that's what they should get.
Yeah, but there's another thing, mate. You're never going to get a majority of the people wanting to ban a particular religion.
How do you think? No, I didn't say anything about. You said that, not me. I didn't say anything about banning religion because that's banning ideas.
I think we've got a misunderstanding about, you're saying banning countries and I'm saying banning religions.
No, I didn't say anything about banning religion. So you brought that up out of Jeff, did I say anything about banning religion this entire show?
You did not say ban religion.
Okay. I want to limit the amount of people that practice this ideology coming to the West. If not, eradicate it. At least for a 10-year period. That's my opinion.
But isn't practicing an ideology a religion?
I don't care. The word religion is we're just mincing words at this point. A religion is a set of ideas. That isn't the definition of an ideology. The ideology, I think, is sick and twisted. And you know what? You could make the same argument with Christianity. If you read that book, that Bible, there's some sick and fucked up shit going on. There's no doubt. But guess what? They're not blowing up fucking Christmas markets.
No, they did. The IRA did, mate. And
so they weren't doing. First of all, I got to be honest. The modern IRA, at least when I was a kid, they were a bunch of fucking left-wing socialists that were flying the flag of Che Guevara. It really didn't have much to do with religion when they're essentially Marxist, and Marxists don't believe in religion at all. So it really didn't have much to do. It had more to do with the way you treated an ethnic group rather than the way it had anything to do with religion.
A lot more people died during the Troubles than they have from radical Islam, mate. So I'm a bit surprised.
You're speaking in red herrings. What's your solution? What's your solution? How can we limit the amount of terrorism that we're seeing in Europe, in your opinion? I gave you mine. Maybe it's time for me to let you talk.
You've got to limit radicalization. So you've got to work with them, with the Muslims, with Christians. Everyone's got to come together and say, we don't want people to be radicalized.
That sounds like, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like fucking hashtag activism. That sounds like hashtag activism to me.
Anywhere.
Let's get together and we'll feel good about each other. What's that going to do? How is that going to convince somebody? Most of the war in the IRA was about our opportunity and shit like that. The way Catholics were being treated. It had nothing to do with the religion they practiced. It had more to do with, I can't get a job, I'm Catholic. We're talking about people. We're talking about people. This is why you need to go to a shitty country, by the way. You need to go to a complete shithole. by people that believe they are commanded by an omnipotent being that is all-knowing, and what he wants is that is your will. What he wants. That's what they believe. Please tell me, white boy, you are gonna talk him out of that by making him feel really good. Didn't work on fucking. I always laugh at Thanksgiving when they show that stupid fucking dinner that the Pilgrims had. Hey, thanks for the meal, Indians. Come on, man. What planet are you on, bro? Where's that ever worked?
That's what I'm saying.
Where's that ever worked, by the way?
We disagree about this.
Okay, fair enough. But where's that work, though? We disagree.
Well, look,
I don't think you're a bad guy or anything. I just think you're misguided.
What's that done? You know,
Well, I tell you something. The only time you have ever seen political change, an actual change, is after wars, buddy. You're just gonna have to face that.
What, like Vietnam?
Well, see, that's a red. Yes, there was. Actually, yes. Good example. The commies took over. They got the political change. Thank you. You're absolutely right. And after World War II, the Nazis were out of power.
And how's Iraq now, mate?
Yeah. Did you know that the Communist Party runs fucking Vietnam right now? Did you know that?
Yeah,
They have a lock over that country. It's one of the poorest countries in Asia, and that's what they fought it for, so they could take over South Vietnam. Man, they have it. There was change. So you prove my point.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad I'm ringing then to help you out with that point.
Yes, you did. That's the way it happens. The only example that I am aware of, and a lot of people had to die, was Mahatma Gandhi. Otherwise, it was all at the end of the sword or a barrel of a gun. That's it.
Thanks, mate.
Take care. Is that the guy that was cursing at me in the chat? Well, he was a lot more respectful than me.
I don't know.
He was a lot more respectful to me.
Yeah, he was very respectful.
He was respectful. The problem is he doesn't want to face his ideas don't work. And by the way, I'm not saying, I don't know, the guy called before he said he didn't want to harm anybody. I have my idea. It's just as good as his, I guess. But I'm sorry.
Trying to be buddy. I mean, that...
You can't blame a whole
like
religion.
You said, really, Gandhi's the only time that's really...
Everything worked. And a lot of people had to die for that to work.
You could say Martin Luther King, but did that end up with him getting offed?
Yes. If you want change, you got to spill blood. And the Vietnamese are a perfect example. They want to change. They got it.
They want to change. They got it. They took that bitch over.
Chase the Americans out. The Americans were not willing to spill more blood. The Vietnamese were. The Americans lose. That's the way it works.
It was a tie, Tommy. It was a tie.
You fucking go into a meeting with them and they blow you up. Adam Taylor. Well, I'll get you were a lot more respectful to me in the chat, which is fair. That's the way it usually happens. And I'm sorry. This is not a giant misunderstanding. And that's what I think. You know, Adam's probably not even a bad guy. He thinks this is a giant misunderstanding. That it's really all white people's fault.
Tell that to all the attacks that have happened in the last year. Tell it to all those people.
Yeah. It's just a giant misunderstanding, Jeff. Giant misunderstanding. If we just got together and talked and so oh, wow, you really love me and I love... No, they don't. They just want to take over.
No, I don't like you.
It's the way politicians talk. I don't like you. I want you dead. I want you... I want you...
They say the things that you want to hear.
I don't like you. I don't like what you think. If you're not willing to go along with me, I'm going to take what you have. You don't know evil, sir. And I think you should do what that fucking kid's going to do. I think you should go to an impoverished place safely, by the way. And see how the rules of our society...
See how it is.
That's the thing. Like, we have certain decorum and certain rules here in the West. They don't apply in poverty. They don't apply with an ideology like Islam where it's dominant. It doesn't apply there.
They just give that the finger.
Yeah. Why do you think women are walking around like they are? Not allowed to drive cars in Saudi Arabia. Because the Western rules don't apply everywhere. Just because it's all you know doesn't mean that's what goes on in the rest of the world. Here's the truth about the rest of the planet. Most of it's poor, most people are suffering, and most people are dying before they had. The only place in the planet that's halfway decent is Australia, Europe, and North America, and not Mexico. Not that I don't like the Mexicans, but it sucks there. I've been there.
Yeah, not great. Not great.
talking about the fucking Crusades. Fuck the Crusades. I'm done. Dave's not calling it.
My head hurts.
I hope you guys all got it out. And I appreciate
all two of them.
Captain disagree with me being respectful to me. And you know what? I tell you something. Being a wise ass in the fucking chat is not a way to get on my good side. If you would have called me and just disagreed with me, I wouldn't have been a little fucking as defensive as I was. But I'm sorry. Your ideas don't stand up. And you never answer the question, is it proper to blame, I don't know, right-wing terrorism on right-wing ideology? Of course it is. Just because it's a religion?
No.
I'm pretty sure in the Crusades, that Christian ideology played a big fucking role on them going to the Middle East. Pretty sure. Just a guess. All right, time to get out of here. You gonna stream later?
I might later tonight after I get back from my wrestling.
Huffman's Hangout. Go check out Dead on Dave. He's in the chat below.
Just uploaded a new video too
there.
right before the show went live, so go ahead and check that out.
The reason I did this show is, I wanted to scream and I wanted you to scream. Yeah, take it easy.
Do we scream for ice cream?
Yeah, it's about time. Take it easy, Adam, brother. I'm sorry we got off on the wrong foot. You're probably all right. But honestly, for all you guys that disagree with me and don't like me and think I'm a big jerk, if you show me respect, I will show it back. I might goof on you, but not on a day like today. Oh, and he sent me a bunch of money, too. Well, Adam is the best caller we've ever had. Adam's great. Adam, you know what? I'm going to give your ideas a little more. I'm going to be more fair. I'm going to think about your ideas. You know, I might be wrong about this whole thing. Islam rock.
We're going to come together.
This is the almighty infinite, independent excellence. Devil fighting, rebel titan, weed smoking alchemist. Fake identities, okay, you cool with Jason Bourne. Running with these Wolverines, okay, you about to catch a storm. I ain't never been a liar, got tired of niggas playing me. Head in my legs like she about to catch a pedigree. Chi-Town, the King's home, slapping fives, black stones, 6 mile to danger zones. Bullets look like waffle cones. Folk affiliated the evolution of Machiavelli. Don't make me lead them eagles to you like I'm Chip Kelly. They feel my struggle, I express it through my hip hop. I'm about to make it hard to breathe. Here's a headline.